And we're back on Travel Michigan. I'm George Zimmerman along with Michelle Banache. And Michelle, as we mentioned before the break, heading up to the Alpena area for another great festival also happening this time of year.
Absolutely. And George, as you know, we have more than 115 Great Lakes Lighthouses here in Michigan. And this
I did know that, yes.
I figured you would. This is a festival that celebrates those. It's the Great Lakes Lighthouse Festival in Alpena. And we're talking with Melanie Kern, the coordinator of that festival. Welcome, Melanie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about the festival, how it got started, what folks can expect.
Okay, well, this year we are celebrating our 17th annual event. It got started because a couple groups got together, lighthouse groups got together, thought that they would be heard more as many than just a few voices, and it started in Alpena because Alpena was chosen as a warm and friendly port centralized between right in the middle of 11 different lighthouses. So this coming up event, you'll be able to see up to 11 different lighthouses, most of them by your personal vehicle. We have a couple of boat tours. We can see those 11 lighthouses by a helicopter photo tour. And also, while you're in the area, the Great Lakes Maritime Heritage Center has glass bottom boat tours going on, and just all kinds of events taking place in the communities around and within Alpena.
Yeah, we mentioned Alpena, but you're right. So the lighthouses we're talking about stretch how far? What kind of distances are we talking about from Alpena?
I think that you could safely say about 3 hours from 3 hours from Tawas to the bridge, okay. Alpena being right in the middle.
Right,
yeah.
right.
You could see them all in about 3 hours.
So it's that whole stretch of Lake Huron coastline there.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, now, and you mentioned too that there are a couple of great ways to do this and things you're offering. The helicopter tours. Obviously, this is in the in the middle of fall foliage, so that'll be great.
Yes, the perfect time to see them.
And then the glass bottom boat tours out of Alpena, out of the Maritime Heritage Center there. That's also a great experience. It seems like with this event, for folks who have not been to this part of the state in a while or maybe never been there. This would be the time to do it. Would be this weekend, the weekend of October 11 to 14.
It is. It's all going to be open. Spectacular things planned. We're ready for you.
Yep. And so are there interpreters at each of the lighthouses to kind of talk about the history of each and kind of
yes.
what they're doing? Yeah.
Yes, and then at the Aplex in Alpena, that's the Alpena Event Center, we have 20 lighthouse groups from around the Great Lakes that also will be there to educate you on their lighthouse groups and the history and preservation efforts as well. And
is some of that an attempt to get volunteers, perhaps?
Oh, yeah, it's always great to get volunteers. Yeah, volunteers is what helps us continue.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that a little bit because many of these lighthouses are, staffed and maintained and taken care of by volunteers, right?
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what does being a volunteer in a lighthouse entail? Or does
in
it
the
vary?
lighthouse, you can greet guests. You can be the one that stands at the top of the tower and make sure that the correct amount of people are up at one single time, and then once they head down, another group comes up. You can help maintain the grounds. There's other volunteers that actually help with the restoration efforts. They build bat houses. They clean up bat poop, and they have painting jobs, scraping, cleanup. There's all kinds of work to be done. Depends on the lighthouse that you're volunteering for.
Yeah, you mentioned that that there will also be these lighthouse groups at the center there in Alpena. And what else happens inside that? Is that about educational programming, or what's going to happen inside there with those groups?
Well, with the groups, they sell their products. Okay. That's how they raise money to restore their lighthouses. They are educating us on it. Those 20 groups will be doing that. We also have entertainment that is, maritime entertainment, singers from around the Great Lakes. We have live auctions going on at that particular building. We have artists and authors coming from around the Great Lakes as well. So there's plenty to do at the Aplex. That's our main event.
And, we talked with our last guest about how people travel for microbrews, but people really travel for lighthouses. What kind of crowds do you get for this event?
We get 3,000 to 5,000 people, and our numbers over the years have shown that we're getting folks from 20 other states outside of Michigan.
That's great.
That's consistently, yeah, and it's looking really good for this year as well.
So what is it, as Michelle mentioned, there are people who are really enjoy going to visiting various lighthouses. What is it about lighthouses that makes them so popular?
Well, I think a lot of people have their own personal reasons, but I do know that lighthouses are America's castles. That's what I believe 100%. And these folks, they go out there and they try to imagine what it used to be like for a lighthouse keeper. Once you climb to the top of a lighthouse, you're hooked. You want to climb more and climb more. It's just a beautiful feeling, a beautiful sight. And those lighthouses once flashed a ray of hope and a point of safety for the sailors out in the water. So there's all kinds of reasons that draw people to the lighthouses.
And are most of these lighthouses retired, or are there still some operating lighthouses?
There are some that are still active. Middle Island Lighthouse is still active. I don't know for sure which other ones along the shorelines of the Great Lakes are still active, but yes, many still are. But the Coast Guard is finding a home for ground zero. You know, as soon as you walk into the lighthouse all the way up to the light, that's how Middle Island is brand new, open to the public for the first time this year, because the Coast Guard gave the lighthouse group the keys and the quick claim deed to the tower, but they still maintain the light. Does that make sense?
Right, yeah, because in many cases the light is still there, but it's automated. They don't need a lighthouse keeper anymore.
Correct,
so
correct.
It's still in use in that sense, but not in the same way that it was before, obviously.
Correct. So there still are some that are automated, some that are still active.
Yeah, you mentioned the Maritime Heritage Center. Just talk about that for a second, too, because I think, for people who are interested in attending the festival, they definitely want to visit there as well.
Well, the Maritime Heritage Center is free admission all weekend long. They are going to have exhibits, and they'll let you experience the maritime heritage. They have shipwreck stories, archaeology, artifacts. A lot of these artifacts are actually brought up from the Thunder Bay area, and then the glass bottom boat tours take you over those shipwrecks that they got the artifacts from. But when you go into the Great Lakes Maritime Heritage Center, you can see their display area where they actually put the artifacts. They have to be in a certain temperatured room, and then you walk through how they take them from the lake and then actually end up in an exhibit. It's a beautiful facility. They have a spot too where you get the feeling that you're actually in a storm. It's high-tech, state-of-the-art, probably just 5 years old.
Yeah, and you mentioned the glass bottom boat tours too. They also have it's relatively recent for Alpena, and a great addition given what you have there as far as the number of wrecks right off from Alpena.
Right.
So that's a beautiful thing. Well, Melanie Kern, thanks very much for filling us in on the Great Lakes Lighthouse Festival. That's coming up in about 2 weeks, October 11 to 14, in Alpena, and really all along the coast there from Taos up to Mackinac. So be sure to check that out on. And again, their website is lighthousefestival.org, so more information there as well. Speaking of websites, ours is obviously michigan.org. We just went through a redo of our site, a kind of a refresh and redesign, and be sure to check that out and give us any feedback you have on that. We try to make the site a little more user-friendly. We tried to make it fit a little better with the Pure Michigan brand, so that was one of our goals. We added some new features, too, especially things like trip planning, which we didn't really have before, where you can take an event like the Lighthouse Festival, for example, and make a note of that and where it's at, and then kind of build an itinerary around it. So those are all some things we've done at michigan.org. Other things going on there, the Pure Michigan merchandise is available there. There's a link to the Pure Michigan store, so we've got a lot of great things coming up with the fall-winter season, some things to keep you warm that are Pure Michigan branded. That's a great thing. And also all of our social media links are there as well, to our Facebook page and Twitter and what we're doing on YouTube. And in fact, we just have posted on our YouTube channel the video that was done with the 50-city tour. Gotten more than 1 million people have viewed that video, which is a great thing for us as well. So again, all that's at michigan.org. Check that out. Be sure to give us your thoughts about your Michigan trips and traveling in Michigan and Pure Michigan, especially on our social media sites. Twitter and Facebook in particular are great for that. Lots of people sharing things there about trips they've taken around the state and the experiences they've had and the photos they've taken and videos and everything else. So again, that's all at michigan.org. So we'll be back with more of Travel Michigan in a minute, where we're going to talk about something that's happening on Beaver Island here on Travel Michigan, where your trip does begin at michigan.org.